An NYPD detective is under investigation after he was caught on surveillance stealing money from a cash register during a cigarette raid. Now, if you're wondering what a cigarette raid is, apparently in New York there's a huge issue with untaxed cigarettes, and cops are trying to get to the bottom of it. So they went into one convenience store while Ali Abdullah was working, and they proceeded to do a raid. During the raid, all of a sudden, there was $2,650 missing, and Abdullah thought that maybe one of his employees stole the money. But later, he looked at surveillance video and he saw this. See him there? That's the detective. It's kind of hard to see. Yeah. But he's grabbing the money. You see the money. He's like, oh, I want that.
Oh, he's turning his back sort of so nobody sees him take the money. Oh, maybe there's some more money over here. What's he doing now?
I think he's stuffing it in a bag or something.
He's raiding the minibar. It's weighted, detective. They're going to know.
There he is. So the detective is Cyrus, and he has been placed on leave with no pay. They're launching an internal investigation. Abdullah says, I was shocked it was a cop. I can understand a thief coming inside the store and stealing, but cops? No. And also, the $2,650 is not listed on police documents of items seized during the raid. Because as you know, when a raid occurs, oftentimes cops will seize money because they'll claim that that's part of the evidence, and then they get to keep the money as, forfeiture laws. The department, exactly. So in this case, that's not what happened. This money wasn't taken as evidence. This money was just taken so the guy could take $2,600.
Yeah, and they turned in $593. Like, turned in meaning they
took it from the register and they turned it in. And presumably, even if it turns out he wasn't selling the illegal cigarettes, he's probably not getting the $600 back. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, we did a story on it recently. When cops seize your money, right or wrong, you get it back only 5% of the time. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's amazing. You should get back every dollar.
Yeah,
theoretically, you should get the money back with interest.
Yeah, I talked to a guy recently. They did that to him. He couldn't believe it. He's like, they just take it and they don't give it back. I'm like, yeah, I know. So people can't believe it until it happens to them. So I like how they're torn. Ali Abdullah, they're like, oh, business owner. We are in favor of business owners, but Ali Abdullah,
Okay, well, they apparently had issues with untaxed cigarettes in the past. I didn't realize this was actually a serious issue in New York. Apparently, taxes on cigarettes are so high in New York that people will smuggle them from New Jersey and then they'll sell them untaxed, yada, yada, which is why I love that the cops are getting to the bottom of that issue.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, look, the Eric Garner case was over loose cigarettes. This is the same, untaxed cigarettes. This is the same thing, untaxed cigarettes. Just calm down with the untaxed cigarette thing.
You see what happens, you libs, when you implement high taxes?
But I actually do agree with that. I think that you have to find the right balance. Like, if you make things illegal, you'll get a black market for it. If you tax them too high, you'll get a black market for it, right? So you got to find the right balance where people go, it's not worth doing the black market. I'll just pay the 25% tax, right? But if you make it like 45%, they're like, where's the loose cigarettes?
Yeah.
Right? Where's the untaxed cigarettes?
Well, yeah, and of course, at some point, though, there might be, even if it's 25%, there might be value in bulk trading of it. And if that's going on, then okay. But I mean, again, somehow a raid seems wrong. I mean, raiding, we're generally against the drug war as it's currently executed. I'm not so sure I want every drug legal, but the raids, everything just feels disproportionate. And again, that money's not yours, Detective Cyrus. You know, the money belongs to someone else.
So I'm sorry to interrupt you. There's another part of this.
That's stealing.
That's stealing, but I mean, it's such a basic thing. Like, what makes you think you could just take that money? You didn't win it gambling. It's not yours.
So the department, you're hilarious. The department figured out that this happened, right? Because Abdullah actually called the cops and let the cops know what happened, and they just completely ignored him. Now, according to WABC, they said Internal Affairs didn't launch an investigation until after the station contacted them. Cyrus was suspended without pay, and 2 other officers were placed on modified duty. Sergeant Fritz Glamond, who supervised the raid, and Sergeant Valerie Santos, who allegedly didn't report the complaint after being told about it.
I mean, it's so dumb. I mean, once they've got the complaint, and if he said he had surveillance video, I mean, it's just so stupid. Then at the bare minimum, Detective Cyrus, you just have to show up at that place the next day and say, you know, I was going through stuff. It turns out I have this $2,700. I think it's yours. And, you know, whatever. You know,
yeah, the thing is, we probably don't see the hundreds of times it doesn't make it into the news. And so they're probably used to like, oh, you got a complaint. Yeah, they got us working around the clock on that, right?
No, but if you know.
Because like we did a story just yesterday, Mario Gibbons, guy who got tased and pummeled by Slager, the guy who wound up shooting Walter Scott, right? That was his earlier abuse case. And he files a complaint. They're like, complaint? Yeah, right. No, we investigated. He's totally not guilty, right? So I'm sure that that's in a lot of ways standard operating procedure.
I'm sure it is. I don't doubt that they dismiss complaints with only cursory investigations, if any. But if Ali Abdullah mentions that there's video of it, unless you're incredibly dumb, you stand up and take notice. That's all.
Yeah, I wonder if he mentioned the video at that point. And then finally, it's a cop story, so I'm just a little relieved that no one got shot.